Here's the deal: the Eagles offensively are one half at a time offense. That is who they are. Until they fix it, that is who they are. And if you're one half at a time offense, at some point in the playoffs, your chances of going home are higher than the other elite teams in the NFC. I'm sorry, I don't know. I don't know what people want. We did the record thing for the longest time, and you say, hey, like to see the offense play better. And the same fans that are pissed at Kevin Patullo and outside his house with pitchforks are mad that you point that out. It's kind of wild, but I don't know what you want me to tell you. I slant flat. I don't know if I should be thankful it exists or be mad that it exists, because it's half the time it's all you see from this group. Like just some two-man combination, half-field read, where we're just gonna dump the ball down in the flat. Spacing, bro. That's like a dirty word to me.
Yeah.
And so I don't think Jalen played awful in the first half. I just don't think he was ambitious. Mm-hmm. Some people are gonna tell you yes, he was. He threw the ball to Devontae Smith down the field. He did this, that, but they don't work the middle of the field.
Nope,
they don't. They're in cuts, they're digs that I'm like, man, I'd like to see you rip that. He just doesn't rip them. So if they're going to pepper the flats and try to get corners to play up, right, we're going to throw a bunch of stop routes and comebacks early in the game. You open the game with 2 comebacks. You're trying to get the corners to play up so you can take shots. Like, I get the idea, but it just never comes to fruition. You get up to a 21-0 lead, and that's great and everything, but the real problem in the game is this: if you cannot run the ball, the lead means shit. And that's what, when you go to the half up 21-7, I was at Fox and dudes were like talking about, this is the Super Bowl team. Yeah, I heard somebody say that. Unnamed.
Jump the gun on that.
And I'm like, just wait till the second half, bro.
Yeah.
Because I've seen this movie. They're going to produce the inverse of what they produced in the first half. And the worst part about it is they're almost better off being down 14 points, so it forces them to open the offense up rather than being up 14 points, a la the LA Rams game. Mm-hmm. Because you do like the matchups against these corners and that sort of thing. Now, Deron Bland's a good player and everything, but the other two guys, and they tried to keep them light. And I get keeping them light, but if you get light and you can't run the football with a lead out of 11 personnel, that's going to be a problem. You touch your stomach with my stomach, we're going to have a problem. If you can't run the ball in light personnel with a lead, that's going to be a problem, especially when you prefer them being in their light package. So just some numbers here. So again, like in summation, the passing game's same old. I'm not going to sit here and do the same bit about the passing game. Either they want to fix it or they don't. Okay? But if you can't run the ball, it's going to put more strain on that passing game. And there's a lot of incompletions in the second half, a lot of short possessions. Okay. They couldn't get light and run the ball. Successful play percentage in 11 personnel, 1 of 12. So do the math there. Not good out of 11 personnel. That's less than 10%. Not good. And I go to check, why do you think they wanted to get light and run the ball in Dallas? Well, it's because Dallas hasn't fit up runs in 11 personnel very well all year. And that's an understatement. Dead last. Fitting up 11 personnel runs all year. Success rate of 45%. Eagles, 0.1 yards before contact yesterday. That's insane. Like, what group are we looking at? I know they got injuries and that sort of thing, but the run game is where you should be able to make up for it. You should usually, customarily, when you have depth at offensive line playing, you're more comfortable running the football than dropping back and throwing the football. Well, you couldn't do either because the Cowboys had a better pressure rate. Mm-hmm. That's a wild thing to say, like, out loud. Sure. And I thought guys like Fowler, he blew up 2 consecutive third downs in the second half. The Quinnen Williams thing is an immediate impact for them. I got to call it how I see it. Like, Dallas has made some shrewd moves. I hate to say it because Quinnen Williams does make them better. Logan Wilson does make them more stable at the second level. You get Overshown back, who made that play in the flat on. You make that play on Saquon in the flat where he stays in bounds and makes the play. Like, just a wild athlete, just a total specimen. And obviously the biggest one is George Pickens, who looks like the best receiver on the field, and on their side of the field, and maybe in the game. I don't know. I'm a big.
Smitty's pretty nice.
Smitty's amazing, but George Pickens is fucking pretty.
Pickens,
he's
trying to get.
I'm not taking 50 balls to Pickens are 75-25.
And they should, and amazingly so, they're kind of the same way for Smitty.
Yeah,
that ball that he tracked behind his head was one of the most amazing plays that I've ever.
And even the incompletion, the one that was just in front of him, his ability to adjust and find the ball, he was right there. It was right. It was just a hair far, but he was right there. He moved right back into the path of the ball. His ability to adjust is so underrated.
I guess what I'm saying is, like, you're going down the road and you're saying, yeah, but we're 8-2. Yeah, but we're 8-2, and then it's Dallas week and you got a big lead and you get less aggressive and you kind of sit on it and you can't run the ball, and all of a sudden now it's like doomsday. It feels like that. I mean, I'm sure it feels like that, and so I just, no matter what part of the game you're looking at yesterday, including the secondary where Cooper DeJean has to go outside, right? And you actually have to put a new slot corner in, and guys are picking on Cooper DeJean outside. And I don't blame him because it's George Pickens. That's not anybody. I'm not saying it's going to be a bad matchup if he has to stay outside and play corner some. But yeah, they got what they wanted in the second half. I mean, and the turnovers are awful. That's kind of what loses you the game, dude. Yeah. It's the Saquon fumble, it's the muff punt return, they muffed the kickoff for a moment at one point in the game. Like, they're just not playing well as a team. A team is an organism, man, and it's not as bad as people want to boil it down to. It's just the offense. There's a lot of little cracks, right? And it exposes the offense's inefficiency with a lead when you make mistakes like that. So. I mean,
it's the perfect culmination of all these. I was in Philly this week, and I went on WIP, and like, I didn't know the bloodbath I was getting into with that, with all the kind of drama and stuff like that, with this Derek Gunn report on Jalen Hurts, and I'm not going to get into that, but I'm just saying, it feels like obviously Eagles fans have been frustrated with with the offensive production here for weeks, despite winning, and now you blow a lead against your biggest division rival and lose, and it just makes it so much more glaringly obvious that a lot of these frustrations are well-founded. And Chris, like you said, to me, it comes back to exactly, which is your first point. The Eagles are built on being a good running football team. That's the entire structure of their offense is built on that. And you have Saquon Barkley, who, in my opinion, is the best running back in the NFL. And you're just like, why is he not producing the same? And the biggest strength of the Eagles, we said this all year over these last 5 years, the biggest strength has been the offensive line. And the offensive line is banged up. They're not playing well. Like Landon Dickerson's an unbelievable player. He's not playing well right now. Cam Jurgens has been banged up since his back. He hasn't quite looked the same. And I think he's fucking tough as nails. That dude is a warrior. But he had a pretty serious, injury at the end of last year. And it seems like he is not, playing well. It's wild to think that probably the most reliable interior offensive lineman for the Eagles right now is Steen, who's actually playing pretty well. And Lane's hurt. Jordan's playing well. But the Eagles are not running the ball effectively whatsoever, and it is just killing the offense.
Need to get my guy to run. Need to get my guy Tank Bigsby a little bit.
Bigsby needs some more run,
some more carries. But a little pop when he gets in there for you guys, like when he's got in there this year. But he just has to
think about this though. Think about this though.
It doesn't matter if you can't, if the O-line can't, perform the well they need to. You're not going to be able to run the ball regardless. But
but Bo, to the point, the Cowboys. Coming in this season, you got the Eagles offensive line, the Cowboys, and I know the Eagles have injuries, and Lane's a big injury, and it hasn't. Dickerson's been up and down and that sort of thing. The Cowboys, who were down 21-0 in this game, ran the ball 30 times, never wavered, ran for over 100 yards, 1.6 yards before contact, compared to 0.1 yards before contact for the Eagles. Unrecognizable. And then on the other side of things, the pass rush group, which last week ate Detroit's lunch. I'm not saying this in like a confrontational way, but Dallas, they got more pressure. When you look at it like, who they won the line of scrimmage, which is a wild thing to say. And to your point, Bo, this team has been built around the offensive line since we won a championship. That team was built around the offensive line. This team has been built around the offensive line. We always talk about who's the main character. The main character has always been the offensive line. And now the main character is not perfect, and they're strained on the passing game. You can talk about the coordinator. I don't know how much of it is quarterback preference. I don't know how much of it is the quarterback or the coordinator just not knowing what the fuck to do. Okay.
Yeah.
So, and I think at the end of this season, it's going to be very interesting. If anything short of a Super Bowl, and you are going to hear a lot of stuff come out about whatever was going on behind the scenes, because it's not functional right now. It's not functional. You cannot go half to half. It's just not going to win you football games in the NFL.
Quentin Williams looked good on the Cowboys defense, and he's awesome. He's already helping him in the run game. And
him, Osa, and Kenny Clark is a good.
I
mean, that's a good parent. That's a good 3 dudes on the inside that are nice.
It is, and it's just for those guys too. Like someone like Kenny Clark, you're going to see a guy reap the benefits off of just having a dog next to him on that line, so that he's not always going to get double teamed or whatever it is, be the focus on that line. So it's just funny seeing too.
And they roll them.
Jones, yes,
they're fresh.
Fresh.
That's like what we used to do, Chris.
That's
But you can only do that when it's a luxury. When you like, you know what I'm saying, that you kind of where all the coaches trust that I can roll guys and I can have all the guys coming in and being on the same type of time and knowing what's going on. And I just feel like kudos to them. And it's funny that we were kind of laughing like, Jerry Jones, what kind of big time big time player are you getting in? And like obviously no one really thought Quentin Williams, but he's just a guy that is just like, hey, he looks
re-energized to be there. He looks re-energized to be there, which I think is big, and it also speaks to like how hard it can be to play for the Jets and places like that, where he just looks really. I mean, he jumps off the film to the point where in the beginning you keep forgetting he's wearing that ugly ass number. No offense to 92.
92.
Who's this fucking pant body who looks like an All-Pro? But it's like
the number that's making him look
the
like
number's funky, man.
92 is tough.
92 is a tough one. Yeah. But the point to me is you can't run the ball. They ran the ball. You know, your best they very similar teams in a lot of ways. Now the defense is very different, but like, you know, you have 2 really good receivers outside, like 2 number ones outside, right? And CeeDee Lamb dropped 800 balls yesterday, and they just were able to get you talk about attacking the weak link at corner. That was one of the things we talked about coming to the game. Again, team with kind of shorter corner. Fucking Dak Prescott threw 10 digs and in cuts at Adoree Jackson. They were living off that stuff. When Sidney Brown's in the game, they're attacking him. Yeah. It just doesn't feel like it. I'm watching to see, like, what are they doing? Are they trying to isolate this matchup? Are they trying to get Carson on this guy or whatever? Like, it doesn't feel like there's a rhyme or reason. It does not feel like there's a rhyme or reason, and that's what's so concerning watching the group.
Yeah, prior to the injury, Adoree Jackson let up 4 receptions, all of them for either first downs or touchdowns. And I think coming into this game, as much improvement as we've seen from the Eagles' defense the last 2 weeks, we all knew that the Adoree's heel of this defense remained.
Oh man,
there's a real Adoree's heel in Philly. And that's what they hit the first week, and of course they came back to it in this game.
And Bond, and I love Bond. He's such a stud. But was it him that dropped the pick, right?
Yes.
Yeah. You know, that's what's. Hey, listen, it's a hell of a play. It's a play that I probably don't make if I'm in coverage. So you know, glass houses. But you know that in a game where you're up late and they're kind of coming back and you kind of feel it and you're on the road, like that's huge. Like if you make that play, you're at the plus 40, and you know the game might be different, but instead they made the plays. Sam Williams chased down, Saquon. You know they forced the fumbles. They took advantage of Philly's mistakes, and so you know it's just one game. And honestly, if it's like any other team in the NFL, I'm so hard on them because of the standard that I think they set for themselves. You know, and there's a lot of people through the season, early in the season, who they just want to circle jerk.
Right.
We're not doing circle jerks here, right, Nate?
Definitely not.
Yep.
I'm not a part of that.
So, you know, it's just and so I think, you know, like if you're looking at it from a standpoint of can they win the whole thing? Absolutely. But what do you have to do? They got to play more perfect than they have. They got to play closer to being consistent than they have, and this hurts. But other teams got 3 fucking losses. It's the Cowboys. Cowboys had Green Bay in town, you know, a couple months ago, and that's a team that we all think can go. Cowboys fucking tied them in overtime. I mean, put up like 40-something points on the group. So You know, it's not a death sentence, but the flaws are real.
Yeah.
And we're not going to ignore them. I'm not going to ignore them. And you really have to, if you're an Eagles fan, start thinking about what do you look like in a post Stoutland's All-Stars world?
Exactly. Yeah, no, that's exactly it.
Because if this is what the offense is going to look like in a post Stoutland's world, post Stoutland's All-Stars, and by I mean like the great offensive line that they've fielded year over year, like I don't know. I don't know if this is sustainable.
Yeah, I think in the absence of a great rushing attack, the offense is going to go as the quarterback goes down the stretch. And I think that you're going to see, you know, Jalen does a lot of things well. Obviously, he's had a ton of success in this league, ripping the ball outside the numbers, the deep ball, his ability to use mobility as a scrambler and to escape pressure. But there are things you saw in this game. You talked about not being able to access the middle of the field. Like he's never been like that kind of like quick processor that you need to be to work that area of the field. And not only does that hamstring them in terms of when you're into it, when you're post snap and you're trying to operate a passing concept, you can't get there. But I think also it probably impacts the offensive staff's ability to scheme things up too. So
it does.
There's a lot there, and to your point, I think without the run game, some flaws are going to be exposed.
It does. He's
Real quick,
he's obviously a guy who's had a great career.
Yeah.
You know, he's a fucking Super Bowl champion quarterback.
Right.
But this is what have you done for me lately, league?
Yeah.
If it was about what happened in the past, you'd have a bunch of people negotiating on that.
Right.
You know, when it comes time to get to the table.
For sure.
And right now, like what the team needs him to do is, and I know it's not fair every week because he did play well in spots in this game, and we're still talking about the quarterback.
Right.
We need him to go have that killer instinct. Totally. You know, you need the team not to turn the ball over and all that stuff. That's all fair. But if you just find a way to get one touchdown drive in the second half, you win the game.
Exactly.
With everything that happened. And so I just look at it like this. And you said, you know, quick processor. I think he is and he isn't. I think his issue is he likes to play safe. He wants the safe throws deep and outside the numbers where the athletes have advantages and he throws a really good ball. Mm-hmm. He wants to see the flat open or a slant or a curl, right, where, you know, leverage is clear.
Right.
Late in downs and in the middle of the field, I don't think he throws people open.
Right.
And that's okay. Not everybody, you know, in the middle of the field. And somebody's going to say, you dumbass, look at this clip from a month and a half ago. Yeah. Brother, I watch football every week. Like, you have to be able to work those areas of the field.
Right.
And if he's not doing it, and maybe it's a schematic thing, they got to work that out because that's a big piece of real estate that's just being left untouched in a football game, and it makes things easier on defensive coordinators. And I don't know what to tell him because the run game sucks, and that's unfair to him. You know,
yeah, totally.
Last year it was like training wheels to have the run game on the offense like that. Anybody would love to play quarterback, and he played a great season of football.
Sure.
But like when you don't have the run game, it's like borderline unfair to any quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a mixed bag.
I think they can get a lot out of Hurts in the run game, though.
Yeah.
So that I was trying to interrupt you for a while there, but you were cooking.
I felt
the
it.
First half.
Don't worry, I have awareness.
The first half of the game, there was some good, quarterback zone read stuff out of Jalen that I liked. And if you're struggling in the run game, try something different. That is something that the Eagles have had in the bag for a while, is the quarterback run game. It's felt like they've gotten away from it at certain points this year. But in the first half, you saw some of those zone reads with Jalen. He kept the ball, even design gap scheme run. I love after A.J. Brown's kind of toe tap pylon ended up not being a catch. Eagles came back out. They spread it out there and empty. And Jalen, saw that the Cowboys were in a light box defensively. They called I think he audible to it. That's what it looked like to me watching it. I don't think that was a called play. I think Jalen kind of called his own number there. Ended up, quarterback empty design draw for the touchdown. I love that shit. I mean, That's just kind of a pretty simple numbers box count. And I think, Jalen is a lot of things. He has been very mobile during his career. It's figure the run game out a little bit. Why not go to a little bit more of that? Design quarterback runs 10 to 15, maybe not 10, 8 to 12 times a game or something like that. Just
you don't want to get them hurt. They're in between a rock and a hard place, Bo. I'm not saying it's all the quarterback. It's not all the coordinator either, because No,
I agree with you there.
There's a lot of penalties in that game. There's plays coming back. There's turnovers. But you know, the reason we are talking about the fucking quarterback is he's the quarterback of the team.
Yep.
And that's what happens, dude. And when you don't score in the second half, like, you need somebody to put that cape on and make plays in the passing game. The Eagles' defense is so good.
Yeah.
They can't overcome injuries like that where they got to put Coop outside against a team like that. I think that the defense is going to keep them in games. The defense, and this is when people are like, why are you talking about the QB? They you know, oh. Dude, the last couple weeks, the offense has been sputtering like a motherfucker.
Mm-hmm.
You can't ignore that context, and your defense has kept you in games. They can't do it every week.
Right.
You know, and so you have to be able to play a full game. I just want to see more consistency. What was the best full game this offense has played this year? Giants, part 2?
Probably,
yeah.
Yeah, this game to me was remember a few weeks ago, the great Nate Tice came on and was talking with Bo, and he described the Eagles' offense as the Enron offense. Basically, with his point being like,
so good.
It's working. He said, he's basically saying, like, I don't understand how it's working, but it's too talented to fail.
Yeah.
But at some point, like, it feels like there's an implosion.
I mean, the offense was rolling.
With that. Like, I have that angst of, like, man, at some point this is gonna. And that's what happened yesterday.
Well, at least people are being realistic about it. That's all we're asking for is like, hey, listen, you win the Super Bowl, that's great. But the next year, you rejoin the field.
Right.
And you are firmly in the field in a good way. You're fucking 8-3. Yeah. But these are not things you can ignore if you want to do it again. You want to get in the playoffs. If this team was like a damn, I'm trying to think of, you know, like if this team was an Atlanta Falcons team, the city is on fire. They're partying every week. We're 8-3. Like, holy shit, we're amazing. We're like the fucking best team ever. The Eagles have set a higher standard for themselves.
Right.
Straight up. It just is what it is, dude.